Williams. Her presence is indicative of her commitment to serve as the First Lady of the great city of Natchitoches. I would also like to extend a special thanks to the members of council in their absence, as well as to our IT team. I appreciate your hard work and your commitment to serve. On August 15, 2020, I became the first African-American mayor of Natchitoches, the oldest settlement in the Louisiana Purchase. Since swearing in, it has been my goal to make good on my overarching campaign promise, to usher in a better tomorrow for all residents. Although I've only been mayor for a handful of months, I hit the ground running. More on that a little later. And I've been metaphorically running ever since to show myself worthy of every single vote cast in my favor, but also to show myself a responsible steward of our great city to those who did not support me as a candidate. The word responsible is an adjective. For those of you who find themselves silently correcting the grammar of others, you know that an adjective is a word that modifies or describes a noun. Strong is the adjective that nearly every president since President Jimmy Carter has used to define the state of our nation. Today, I echo their sentiments, and I'll proudly declare that the state of our city is strong, but we have work to do. On August 16, 2020, a tropical wave that would eventually become Hurricane Laura was formed. 11 days later, Laura made landfall. Louisiana hadn't experienced a hurricane like Laura since 1856. So many residents in Natchitoches described the damage as the worst they had ever seen. Our city was completely off the grid. Lee McKinney explained that this meant that no one in the city had power. The damage was devastating. There were parts of town that were rendered unrecognizable. I remember sitting down at my dining room table to record a message for the residents of Natchitoches. What does one say when a Category 2 hurricane hits their hometown? I honestly don't remember my exact words, but I do remember my actions. I put on a pair of rubber boots. My wife followed suit. Then we went to work. I drove all around town, assessed the damage Laura left in her wake. I communicated regularly with some of the most hard-working people I have ever met, the linemen of the Natchitoches Utility Department. I also communicated regularly with the residents of Natchitoches. I responded to Facebook Messenger messages and had posts made on the city's Facebook page, while I made regular posts on my personal page in the days after the storm. The arduous task of restoring normalcy was slow but steady. My family was out of power for 7 days. Perhaps your family went without utility services for a shorter or longer amount of time. Perhaps all of the food in your refrigerator or freezer was ruined. Perhaps you charged your cell phone in your car, or you waited in an extremely long line to fill your tank with gas. Laura definitely left her mark on the city of Natchitoches. But I must say, the people of Natchitoches pulled together in a way that was truly inspirational. Neighbors banded together. Local businesses and organizations donated food, water, and other essentials. People all over the city did what they could to help others who were in need while they were in need. While some can claim that they had a trial by fire, I had a trial by hurricane. But I hit the ground running, and I remain just as dedicated today as I was on day one. Making information more accessible was always a part of my plan to be more transparent. The state of emergency caused by Hurricane Laura required me to accelerate my timeline and use Facebook as a way to communicate in the months that followed. I made strategic changes to increase the social media and online presence of our great city. Under my administration, we regularly release updates via Facebook and the City of Natchitoches website. Also, today, the City of Natchitoches released the first issue of our monthly newsletter during my administration. Not only does this newsletter include information and updates from each city department, it also includes a section with information and updates about my activities during the previous month. We work for you. Your vote is your voice. I am a mayor who is listening and working diligently to enact policies and change that are reflective of the residents of Natchitoches. As I continue my tenure as mayor, I will continue to make it my business to keep you informed about how we are handling the day-to-day business of this great city. Over the past several months, I've continued to cultivate lines of communication with department heads, departments, and other community leaders and officials. Recently, I hosted a virtual economic development seminar. Also, city staff participated in a diversity, equity, and inclusion training. I cannot stress enough the importance of civic engagement. Abraham Lincoln once said, "Government is of the people, by the people, for the people." With this in mind, I have used my time in office to not only work with the dedicated members of my staff, but to reach out to those in the community for their invaluable input and advice. Several advisory boards have been reignited or established, including Keep Natchitoches Beautiful, the Mayor's Health and Fitness Council, and a newly created Economic Development Council composed entirely of residents from both the city and parish. This work to include as many voices from the community continues as I endeavor to always strive to be open to the voice of you, the true owners of government. So many people serve at the pleasure of the mayor. Let me assure you, I serve at the pleasure of the voters of Natchitoches. I remain humbled by your trust, and I am determined to exceed your expectations. As an educator, we learn that there are different types of learners. Auditory learners learn best by hearing information. Visual learners learn best by viewing information. Kinesthetic learners learn best when given the opportunity for hands-on or movement-based learning. More often than not, people have multiple learning styles. As a teacher, I tried to plan highly engaging lessons that combine various elements to cater to the different learning styles of the individuals in my classroom. I have brought that passion of lifelong learning with me. We have expanded our use of technology to make our Natchitoches City Council meetings more engaging and accessible to those who attend and present. We will continue to make marked changes that increase our utilization of technology. Such changes are not only impactful immediately, but long-term, we will be more efficient and more competitive with other municipalities who have embraced the use of technology. We will not be left behind or rendered obsolete. The perils of COVID-19 have not only kept you from witnessing this State of the City Address live, but they have also made our quarterly town hall meetings more difficult to execute. This is a goal deferred, but not denied. Given the improvements to our technology, I will continue to make our first town hall meeting a reality, even if it has to be a virtual town hall. I'm excited about continuing to infuse technology throughout our city departments to better serve the people of our historic city. A couple months after taking office, I decided to initiate the process to save the city some money. Namdi Thompson of Government Consultants discussed with myself, finance ways that this could be possible. Ultimately, the council approved a proposal that will improve the city's finances by shortening the 2015 bond by 5 years from a payoff date in 2036 to a payoff date in 2031. It pays off the 2013 bond with $65,000 and creates an overall cash flow savings of $300,000. Earlier, I said that the state of our city is strong, but you may have noticed, qualified my statement by saying we have work to do. There's been a steady erosion of our financial reserves due to excessive spending and a turning away from fiscal responsibility. As a result, there are various expenditures that the city will need to address, but the funds reserved for these planned expenditures have been depleted. About 5 years ago, the city boasted of over $30 million in the bank. That has been dwindled down to just over $13 million today. I accept the challenge ahead to rebuild our reserves and budget for major projects that we will need to be completed in the coming months and years. Furthermore, I will be attentive to the deficits and inequities of spending across our great city and work to enhance economic development for all geographic areas, north, south, east, and west. As I plan for and oversee new projects, I will do so in a way that is attentive to the budget and ensure we have saved or planned adequately before embarking on any major developments. Let me be clear, I want to make major improvements in so many areas. I am bursting with ideas for expansion and growth, and I'm happy to hear from others. But I will be fiscally responsible mayor. I will not spend money that we don't have to finance projects that the majority of residents do not need or want. Some worry that my inexperience with managing large budgets will be detrimental to the residents of our great city. Let me put your worries to bed. I am up to speed, and I'm continuing to educate myself on where our city is financially and how we have gotten here. The state of our city is strong because the people of our city are strong. The changes I make to our economic policies will yield intended results. We will build up our reserves. We will complete important required projects. We will balance our budget. Only a generation or so ago, people would proudly declare that they didn't feel the need to lock their doors at night. Indeed, someone once told me that locks are for honest folks. A thief knows how to break in regardless of if a door is locked or not. Sadly, the world we live in is not one in which people feel safe enough to leave their homes unsecure as they sleep. While Natchitoches remains a safe and beautiful locale with a small town feel and big city opportunities, we have seen an increase in some crime in recent years. There are many contributing factors to this increase, and as such, our approach to reducing crime in Natchitoches must be a multifaceted one. Change will not come overnight. Change will not come as a result of a simple modification here or there. We must all work together to usher in a safer tomorrow in our beloved city. This means our chief and police officers. This means mothers and fathers. This means aunts and uncles. This means counselors and teachers. This means you and me. Together, we can help to stop the senseless violence that is trying to invade our town. We won't stand for it. We will stop it together. If you see something, say something. If you have information about a crime, please share it with someone who can investigate and help to bring justice. Believe me when I say that there are many, many key changes that are forthcoming. These changes are in response to information from research, discussions with our DA, sheriff, and chief of police, law enforcement officers, our marshal, community advocates and leaders, and sadly, with those who have lost loved ones due to senseless acts of violence. Our city is safe, but we must make it safer. Even one murder is too many. As we in government work to make our city safer, please begin to take a self-inventory of what you can do to help us. Are you willing to sponsor a neighborhood watch program in your area? Do your fellow residents feel comfortable confiding in you when they have information relating to a crime? Would you be willing to help to bridge the gap and restore trust in the men and women who serve as law enforcement officers in our city? Rest assured that we have dedicated men and women who are part of the thin blue line. These officers put their lives on the line to protect and serve. They are heroes. I will make sure, working in conjunction with our police chief, that our officers receive the best training available and the support that they need to continue to uphold the oath that they have sworn to uphold. Are you willing to band together in unity with these brave men and women? Not only should we be appreciative of the dedicated service of men and women in uniform, but we're grateful for every city employee who works hard every day to fulfill the service needs of our residents. Your commitment is not forgotten. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. once said, "The best way to solve any problem is to remove its cause." I am convinced that many of the crime problems that exist today are a direct result of poverty. Although I'm biased, I stand ready to proclaim that Natchitoches is the best city in the state, country, and the entire world. I love Natchitoches. Investors will love Natchitoches too. We are here, primed and ready to partake in an awesome economic recovery like no other our city has ever seen. Mark Twain said, "Prosperity is the best protector of principle." While there are many great things one can say about the city of Natchitoches, we boast of one of the most beautiful downtowns in all of the United States. In a non-COVID year, tourism here booms as much as any other city our size or even larger. And we are the proud home of the Northwestern State University. Despite our many areas of success, we have to reckon with the fact that nearly 44% of residents here live in poverty. It is the intent of this administration to maintain an atmosphere in which everybody will have access to a more prosperous future. As you will notice in the newsletter released today, on Saturday, March 13th, the city, partnered with Sabine State Bank and other area banks, will host a first-time home buyers seminar at the Natchitoches Event Center. While home ownership is one piece of the prosperity puzzle, another critical part of a strong local economy is expanding and retaining small businesses. The impact that the pandemic has had on small businesses is evident in the increased number of vacant buildings and for sale or for lease signs in front of commercial properties. 2020 was an unkind year. To build our local economy, I believe we have to take an innovative approach. To that end, I am calling for the implementation here of a program that was enacted in Covington, Kentucky. The Economic Development Chair in Covington oversees a business expansion and retention program that provides a subsidy of rent for the first year that a business is open. Successful applicants will have their rent subsidized by $500 for the first year of operation. Owners of the many amazing existing small businesses know could be among them. In addition to this subsidy, the program allows funds for existing businesses to apply for facade improvements, up to $6,000. According to Ross Patton, Chair of Economic Development in Covington, this program has been